Greetings, Guardians of Dominion. Zeus here, and today we're diving into one of the most intriguing heroes Hero Wars has given us in a long time. Cascade isn't just another mage, he bends the very mechanics of the game. From disrupting enemy formations to turning basic attacks into something entirely new, he might just be the key to rewriting today's meta. Let's break down why he could change everything. How does Cascade really work? Is he truly a game changer? That's what we're going to explore in this breakdown. First, it's important to clear up a common misunderstanding. Cascade may have the mage tag, but he is not designed to be your primary damage dealer. His main value lies in his supportive abilities. Think of him as a mage with utility first, and damage second. This distinction matters because if you invest in Cascade, you still need strong damage dealers on your team, heroes like Orion, Augustus, Krista, Lars, Satori, and others. Cascade is best when he's amplifying the strength of other intelligence-based heroes. He fits into many setups, and his real power comes from the synergies he unlocks. Let's start with his first skill, Hydrokinesis, which is also his ultimate. This ability comes in two parts. The first part deals damage, while the second provides utility by blocking resurrections and stopping healing. That makes it a hybrid skill. It's not built to be a pure nuke like Orion's or Krista's ultimates. You shouldn't expect Cascade's Hydrokinesis to wipe out an enemy team in one cast. Instead, you should view it as a mix of moderate damage and heavy utility. And here's the big twist, because it cancels resurrection and healing, you no longer need to rely on heroes like Morrigan or Jet to deal with Rufus. Cascade handles it on his own. In fact, for players who have all three, Jet, Morrigan, and Cascade, Cascade often becomes the first choice simply because of his versatility and the extra tools he brings. Morrigan and Jet were always situational picks, mostly used to counter specific threats, and they never really meshed well with mage-heavy teams. Cascade's presence lowers their overall value, while also reducing Rufus's defensive strength in the meta. And don't overlook this skill in large-scale battles, it's incredibly effective against City Hall teams in Clash of Worlds. Now let's move to his second ability, Tidal Wave. This is where Cascade charges into the enemy team, shoves them around, and deals damage in the process. On its own, the damage isn't overwhelming, but it adds up. Roughly 70k damage to each enemy means 350k total across the team, which is not insignificant. But the real magic here comes from disruption. By scattering the enemy formation, Cascade can break the synergy of carefully built teams. For example, Nebula is often placed in very specific positions to boost a key damage dealer. When Cascade pushes enemies around, that formation breaks, and Nebula may end up buffing the wrong hero. That can completely flip a fight. This skill also creates high synergy with Krista's frozen needles. The moment Cascade disrupts enemy positioning, Krista can rain down her skill on clustered enemies, stacking huge amounts of damage alongside Cascade's push. However, there's a flip side. Tidal Wave can sometimes reduce the effectiveness of heroes like Arachne, whose stuns depend on enemies staying close together. It can also weaken area damage abilities if enemies get shoved out of the zone at the wrong time. So while it's powerful, it's a skill that can both enhance and sometimes interfere with certain team strategies. Next is Refluence, a skill that really ties Cascade's kit together. After using Tidal Wave, he returns to his position and applies watermarks on enemies. And here's where things get interesting. Whenever enemies with a watermark take magic damage, Cascade adds extra damage on top. That means the effect isn't limited to Cascade's skills alone, it interacts with any ally dealing magic damage. I've tested this a lot with Lars and Krista, and the synergy is incredible. All three heroes can apply watermarks frequently, which leads to constant procs. The result is a storm of effects. Cascade adds bonus magic damage, Krista heals your team for half the damage dealt, and Lars doubles his damage against marked enemies. When you chain this together, Cascade's Tidal Wave, Krista's Frozen Needles, and Lars's Lord of the Storm, the enemy team takes a barrage of smaller hits that snowball into massive total damage, all while your team stays healed. The synergy between these three heroes is some of the strongest I've seen in the Mage category. But don't think Cascade is locked into only working with Lars and Krista. He boosts the output of almost any intelligence-based hero. Take Orion, for example. Every missile Orion launches against marked enemies will trigger Cascade's extra damage, stacking even more pressure on the opponent. This makes him a universal support option for many Mage teams, amplifying their power while still bringing his own utility and disruption. That's the beauty of Cascade. He's not about replacing your damage dealers, he's about elevating them, disrupting the enemy's structure, and giving you control over fights that would otherwise slip away. Now let's move on to Cascade's most important ability, the one I consider his true game-changing skill. Every time a hero alters the core mechanics of Hero Wars, they instantly become dangerous, and Cascade joins that small group. Think about it, Lyria redefined the battlefield with dodge reduction, and Augustus changed everything by converting magic damage into pure damage. Cascade's mechanic is in the same league. It reshapes how battles play out. But before anyone gets too excited, I need to point out that this power does have a clear counter, Isaac. I don't want to overhype Cascade without reminding you that a well-built Isaac can shut him down. So why is this mechanic such a big deal? Because Cascade takes every magic hero in your roster and supercharges them. He doesn't just improve their skills, he fundamentally changes their basic attacks. Let's break it down. With Cascade active, Amira's basic attack suddenly hits like a truck. Heidi, who normally deals pure damage and never relied on magic attack, now fires off basic attacks as magic damage. Even Thea, a healer who's not meant for raw damage, can start contributing real numbers with her basic attacks. Cascade converts those attacks into magic damage that scales off the hero's magic attack stat. And most intelligence heroes have well over 110k magic attack, which means nearly half of that number now flows directly into every basic hit. That's a huge shift in how these heroes perform. But here's where the catch comes in. Cascade's conversion doesn't guarantee full damage output. Magic damage still runs into the wall of magic defense and requires proper penetration. Let's use Heidi as an example. Heidi has a magic attack of 122k, so you'd expect about 56k magic damage per basic hit after Cascade's conversion. Yet in practice, against Rufus, you might only see him land 5k. Why? Because Heidi's magic penetration is just 3k, while Rufus sits on around 40k magic defense. That gap swallows most of the damage. Cascade enables the attack, but without extra support, the potential is wasted. This is where heroes like Orion or Augustus come into play. Orion boosts magic penetration, but Augustus makes the interaction crystal clear. When Augustus strips Rufus of his magic defense, you can actually see the true numbers shine. In one example, Orion's basic attack jumps to around 63k damage against Rufus after the defenses are gone. And if Augustus is on the team, that same damage is converted into pure damage, bypassing defense altogether. So what starts as a physical basic attack becomes magic damage thanks to Cascade, and then transforms into pure damage with Augustus. That chain of conversions is where Cascade's skill feels truly groundbreaking. The bigger picture here is that Cascade reshapes how magic damage dealers function, just like Augustus did a year ago. He isn't just another mage, he rewrites the rules. But there's a reality check we can't ignore. As strong as this mechanic is, Cascade teams don't yet have a stable defensive meta. Almost every Cascade lineup can be answered with Isaac. That's why I believe his future won't be in pure magic teams alone. More likely, he'll end up in hybrid lineups where magic and physical attackers combine, similar to how Orion and Augustus weren't dominant until Dante joined the mix. Cascade may follow the same path, but the exact formula hasn't been discovered yet. So let's address the question many players are asking: should you invest in Cascade? Here's my honest take. Cascade is one of the rare heroes with mechanics that change the game, on the same level as Augustus and Lyria. If your roster is already stacked with magic heroes, he can be a phenomenal addition. He brings unique synergy, and opens up entirely new playstyles. That said, the perfect Cascade meta team hasn't been found yet, and Isaac remains a hard counter you must always keep in mind. So while the potential for a future top-tier Cascade team exists, it's not guaranteed. For now, I'll keep exploring Cascade all week and testing every angle. My goal is to give you all the information you need before the Cascade event begins so you can make an educated decision about his development. Whether you choose to invest or not, you will have the knowledge to do it confidently. So let's wrap this up. Cascade isn't your typical mage who wins fights with raw damage. His true value comes from his utility and the way he changes game mechanics. Hydrokinesis blocks resurrection and healing, Tidal Wave disrupts enemy formations, Refluence amplifies magic damage across your team, and his final skill turns basic attacks into magic damage, and even pure damage when paired with Augustus. He can boost heroes like Orion, Krista, Lars, and Augustus to new levels of power, but remember, Isaac is his biggest counter, and we haven't yet seen a fully stable Cascade meta team. For now, he's powerful, versatile, and absolutely unique, but not untouchable. Now I want to hear from you. Do you see Cascade as a must-build hero, or more of a situational pick? Share your thoughts and tests in the comments, I'd love to hear your take. If this breakdown helped, make sure to like the video, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next deep dive. Stay sharp, stay strategic, and keep pushing your limits. Salute and friendship.